Hello. So today I am here with one of my favorite people, Bandana Grandma. She just drove 2 hours to see us in Pennsylvania, and we are in Bird in Hand Farmers Market. Why is it named that? Do you know? Bird in Hand?
I used to know. I don't remember.
Huh.
There was a reason. Look it up.
Okay, well, look, Google it and let me know. If anybody knows, let me know. But today we are talking to Bandana Grandma. She's Superwoman, 7 kids on a Christian school teacher's salary, which was like in the 20,000s, right?
When we started, it was 9,000, then 16,000, then it went up to 26.
Wow. And she made it through, and she's lived to tell about it. 7 kids. So what I want to talk to you about is everyone keeps telling us that's just not possible. Now, I do realize your kids are older and are out of the house, but the principles are still the same. We still do the same things. It's just you do it with what income you have.
That's right.
So, give me a brief summary of how you ended up in a Christian school teacher's salary like that. Kind of what led you up to that, and how did you decide to do that?
Well, it all came down to a matter of faith that my husband and I had been married. We had had a failed marriage. The Lord walked in and healed our marriage.
By the way, watch that series. It's really good. Yeah.
It's called My Faith Journey.
Yeah.
And when we had healed, the Lord had healed our marriage, my husband felt the call to become a school teacher, and he wanted to teach in a Christian school so he could have an influence on kids in a positive way. And so we went to college with 3 kids, and that was tough. And
Your husband went to college.
My husband went to college. I didn't go to college.
And you guys had 3 kids.
We had 3 kids when he went. We had the 4th while he was there. And so we pinched pennies a whole lot. And it was the only way to survive. And so one thing springboarded into the other. He graduated college. He was a physical education major. And from there we went to look for schools. And the first school we went to was in Hopewell, Virginia, and it paid $9,000 a year, and we had 4 kids. So he worked the job nights loading tires on the trucks. I babysat. I did coupon. I not only used coupons, but I taught couponing on a local TV show there.
Okay.
And they let me. They didn't pay me, but they let me sell a brochure I had made up on how to do couponing. And
so to put that in perspective, that's about $750 a month is what you earned approximately. How much was your rent?
$265 plus utilities. Now, this was way back when. This was way back
still.
when. And it's in a depressed area of Virginia too.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So they were
It's all relative to the salary
is.
and the time.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and it is, and I totally get that the prices are different. But guys, the principles are still the same.
That's right.
It is still the same, no matter what. This is nothing new. I'll have people email me saying, well, that's nothing new. No, it's not. It's just that people are doing it, and they are surviving, and they're thriving, and they're able to raise families even on a low income. So what are some of the things that you did to help raise 7 kids on such low income? Because even in the 80s, that was really low in the 80s.
Yeah, it was. We made a lot of choices on food that were healthy, but we didn't try and keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
Because the Joneses were broke and they were living on credit cards.
And they were miserable.
Yeah, and everybody thought they had tons of money because they were driving better cars and had other things. But like we had oatmeal a lot for breakfast. Nothing wrong with oatmeal. Sometimes I made what I call tiger oatmeal, and I put 2 eggs in the oatmeal and maybe a little bit of peanut butter or something, and we do it up that way. For a long time we had to use dry milk, and we did that.
Because back then dry milk was cheaper.
Yes.
Now it's not cheaper.
Right.
But back then it was cheaper to use dry milk.
Yes. In fact, there's a funny story that my daughter Mandy, who's my oldest daughter, she grew up in the really lean times, and by the time my 5th daughter came, who's the baby of the 7 kids, things were better off, and so she didn't have to do some of the things that Mandy had to do. And she got a little bit spoiled, and she would say something like, "I don't want to eat this," and Mandy would say to Jonna, "Who raised you? You know, we had powdered milk every day, and we liked it. We had peanut butter every day for lunch, and we liked it." So Jonna had to learn that things weren't so bad.
Yeah, that's true. We're noticing that with Jack a little bit now.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
kind of like, what do you mean Jack gets a bubble gum out of the dispenser? We didn't get a bubble gum. I know. I'm sorry. Here, I'll get you a bubble gum.
But
too.
I've always been frugal. And to go along with that story about Jonna, when I took Jonna school shopping once, the kids were already grown. She was the last one, and so she was the last one. I think she was in middle school, and I was taking her out to get her school supplies and her clothing. And I had put aside $200, which in the other days would be forget it, you know. And so I'm taking her to the store, and she disagreed with me about the book bag she wanted to get. She wanted to get this pocketbook type book bag that wouldn't hold anything. And I told her, "Johnny, I won't hold your books. We can't get that." And she said, "You just don't want to buy me anything." And I said, "You know what? You're right." And I put back the underwear I had bought her. I turned the cart around. I went home, and I said, "If you want new book bag and new this and new that, you're going to earn the money, and I'm going to pay you $8 an hour to earn the money." And she did housework to do that.
Yes.
And when I told Mandy that story, she says, "You paid her $8 an hour."
You can't win for losing, can you? I know. But that's true. Parents say, "Well, I don't know what to do." That's exactly what you do.
Yeah.
If your kids are hollering about it, you make them pay for it. And that's what we do with our kids. That's why I say the principles are still the same.
Yeah.
You know, we have a allotted amount. I got news for you. I'm not spending $100 on a backpack. If you don't like it, then you can use your $100, but you're not spending my $100 on a backpack. So
My son Michael wanted these fancy sneakers one year. And I told him, "This is the amount of money I can spend on sneakers. If you want more, you have to do it." He went out, he got himself a part-time job, and he earned some money to go buy sneakers. And he went to buy these, I don't know if they were Nikes or what they were that he wanted. And right next door was Tom McCann then. And he was looking at the sign at Tom McCann, and it said, "Buy one pair, get one pair free." And he had earned that money, and he said, "You know what? I don't think I need those sneakers." And he went and got the 2 pairs of Tom McCann.
there you
He
go.
earned the money. Yeah.
And it works, doesn't it?
It does. It
now,
does.
it's not going to necessarily be pleasant for you always. I mean, because sometimes they'll rebel and they'll say, "Well, I'm going to wear the hole in the sneakers," and you got to go to church with the holy sneakers. And you're like, "Dude, I'm teaching you a lesson, but it makes it look like I'm not taking care of my kids." But, you know, and for us, what we'll do is we'll say, "Okay, here's your $20. If you want something more, that's how much I will spend for them. You can throw in the rest," which you can do. If they're cupping an attitude, though, no. I'm like you, no. If you have an attitude, forget it. So,
You know what? My kids love me now.
do they?
Now they love me.
I don't know. Do you love me? Ellie's right here. Hop in, Ellie. Do you still love me? Or was it torture?
And they're all really good with money now.
See?
They
It
are.
helps,
They're good with
doesn't
money
it?
now.
So, what did you do for groceries? What did you guys eat? Because you're making $750 a month, 7 kids. What did you eat? What did you feed them? I mean, I know you had oatmeal a lot for breakfast. What did you have for lunches, dinners?
Well, first of all, we qualified for food stamps, but we had said back when we was going to college that once he gets out and in the world and working, we're not going to take food stamps because it was our choice to go into Christian education. It was our choice to have the 7 kids. And we didn't want the world paying for that.
Yep.
And that the Lord would provide because
Yeah,
we
that's
felt
good.
led to do that. So food stamps were out even though we qualified.
And just a disclaimer: we're not saying if you're on food
Right.
stamps that's bad, but I agree with her. If you
Just
have,
for me.
if you have a man and a wife in the home and they're both able to work, one of them should be working, and you really, unless there's some medical reason or something. That's my opinion.
I'm not judging anybody else, just for me.
That's just my opinion. That if Mike is able to work, we're not going to do that either because I totally agree with you. Yeah.
If you have to, you have to.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
I found that I could make other choices that allowed us to eat and eat healthy. We didn't have a whole lot. I buy chicken. I shop the sales every week. and I'd stock up on the things that were on sale. I did become a coupon queen, and that's in the story on my faith journey too. To the point where I was giving classes, and I did a little weekly coupons or a little weekly TV stint on a local program. So that all worked out too. And
You told me you spent about $30 a month,
no,
or I mean a week,
yes,
on groceries.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we'd get chicken, and we'd eat a lot of chicken and potatoes and rice, and I would get vegetables, and we'd have fruit. And you know, you just divvy it out in such a way that you make things frugal, and you have good recipes that stretch those things.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's really, I think people make it a lot more complicated than it needs to be. You can take just a simple, grilled chicken with some vegetables and serve them with ranch. Like I'll cut up some peppers, cucumbers, and carrots, and we'll just serve them with ranch. And we do that 3 or 4 times a week at least. The boys like it, Mike likes it. Why do I need to make my life more difficult? So, how did you save on things like kids' clothes?
Kids' clothes. We shop the Goodwill.
Yep.
We shop the Goodwill a lot, and my kids look good.
Yeah.
And because they weren't exposed to a lot of other things, for a while we had no TV. They didn't really crave to have something with a brand name, and they look good, and they're stylish clothes at the Goodwill if you shop well, so there's no need to go out and spend so much more in the store if they had the Goodwill. It was a choice we made at the time.
Yeah, it's all about choices, really, is what it boils down to.
Yard sales.
Yeah.
I sewed a lot.
Oh, did you sew? See, I never sewed, but I did do yard sales and thrift stores, so I never got Mom's sewing gene. Mom's the sewer, I'm not, or seamstress, I guess. Is that
Hi,
what
Jill.
say?
You make
So-
beautiful aprons. I know that.
I keep telling her we should auction them off, but
Yeah.
she's like, no, I don't want. So what did you do for things like medical insurance?
Okay, at the school, he did have insurance. When he was
Okay.
teaching at the Christian school, he had insurance, so that was a big plus. Because when we were at college, we didn't have it, and that was really, really hard.
Yeah.
And while we were at the college, I did go on to a program that did provide basic care for the kids. So, and
Okay.
while we were at the college, I did take food stamps for that short amount of time while we were at the college, because I said this is a means to an end. We know it's temporary, but once we left college, we said we're not doing it.
Oh, good. Okay, yeah. And insurance is one of those things where now you kind of are required to have it. But we lived for years without insurance, and we had, Ellie was $12,000 for. We had insurance, but they wouldn't pay the flight for life. When she was born in a teensy tiny hospital, and so sometimes you're just going to get caught with things like that, and that's where you have to save as much as you can, so that when the car breaks down or whatever, you have that cushion so you don't have to go into debt.
And
if
there was
possible.
a time when there was no way of saving, like the college days and the early Christian school days. There was no way of saving. But when you can,
Yeah, and then there are times you do just have to earn more money
yes,
to get yourself going. But when you're doing that, don't go on vacations.
yeah, exactly.
Use that money to save for a rainy day, for a broken car, for medical emergency, things
And that
like
was
that.
like my husband took a job 4 hours a night, a half-hour away, loading heavy tires onto a tractor trailer so he could be a Christian school teacher. He did that,
Wow.
and he's the man.
There you go.
He's the man.
Yep.
He
Yeah,
did it.
there's a lot to be said. I think there's a lot of stress in people's lives because everybody's trying to work. If you just have dad work and mom stay home, usually it's a lot more peaceful. I'm not judging, I'm just saying it's a lot more peaceful because when someone's at home getting the laundry done during the day, in the evening you can sit and relax together and work on homework together without being stressed out and those kinds of things. And I get you have to, but we've always tried to make it so that Mike was earning the money. I mean, I'm the face on here, but so it really does help, I think, for us.
And you want to have an educated choice too. You want to know
Yep.
what the differences are. That if you do stay home, you're saving on the car, you're saving on clothing, and childcare.
Office gifts.
So so make a an effort to educate about what is really involved. And if you choose to work, that's fine.
Yeah.
Just know the options.
Yeah. Because I've had several people say they want to stay home and they email me their budget and they're making like $1 an hour.
Yeah.
And one lady, she just burst into tears. I felt so bad for her. But, you know, you need to know that by the time you pay for all that stuff, it is a big expense. So.
Now, when my kids went to school, I worked from home as a medical transcriptionist.
Oh, now that's a good idea.
And I worked part-time. I worked maybe half-time from home as a medical transcriptionist when the kids were little. And then when they got bigger, for 1 year, I went into the hospital and I worked there for a year as the lead medical transcriptionist, where I would dole out the work between the hospital and the home transcriptionist.
Good.
And that worked out.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's a good way to, have a good compromise for it. So, all right, guys, this is Bandana Grandma. She is the real deal. She raised 7 kids on $750 a month. And she has a really cool YouTube channel. So head over to Bandana Grandma. It'll be in the description below. She's one of our faithful viewers. I don't know, you've been with us, I think, since we started our live streams a year and a half ago.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I think you've been with us since the beginning of our live streams. So anyway, we will see you guys later. Please visit us at livingonadime.com. Hello. That was too Berkey. I'm not that Berkey.
That was intense.